Hi guys, welcome back to Adekunle's Talkline show. On today's episode, we will be having a session with distinguished Senator Babajide Omoworare. He is the current SSA to the President on National Assembly and political matters. It's going to be a wonderful session. Please come with me.
Well, my name is Babajide Omoworare. Senator Babajide Omoworare. I'm the Senior Special Assistant to the President, National Assembly Matters, Senate. That's how I can introduce myself, simpliciter. I was in the Senate 2011 to 2019, 7th and 8th Senate. Before then, I was in the Lagos State House of Assembly, 1999 to 2007. I spent 2 terms in Lagos. I was majority leader. I was chairman, judiciary, ethics and privileges, human rights and public petitions. Then when I was re-elected in 2003, I became the majority leader. I went to Osun to run for Senate. I left Lagos, went to Osun to run for Senate, and I believe I won the 2007 election, but it is what it is. I went to tribunal. I won in the Court of Appeal, but my party and I decided that we'll rather wait till 2011, because that was 2000 and last quarter of 2009, the election, the by-election was meant to take place on 23rd of December 2009, but we did not participate. But in 2011, contesting for the same senatorial seat, I won the election and I represented Osun East in the Senate. For the first 4 years, I was chairman, vice chairman federal character. Before, when I was re-elected, I became the chairman rules and business. After 10 months or 11 months, I became the chairman legislative compliance, and I was also the vice chairman judiciary, human rights and legal matters committee. I'm a legal mind. I trained in Ife, in the prestigious Obafemi Law University. I left Ife in 1989. I was called to bar. I went to Nigerian Law School, Victoria Island. I was called to bar in 1990. I practiced law, going to court, drafting, perfecting documents, and so on and so forth. For 8 years, 1998, I was in the law firm of Babalake & Co. before I was elected into Lagos State House of Assembly in 1999. Then going further, I went to St. John's Grammar School, Ile-Ife, Okeaton, and I went to Shijuade Nostrand Primary School, Ile-Ife. So I did my primary, secondary, university in Ile-Ife. I was born in Ile-Ife, more or less. Although I was born in Ilesha General Hospital, but that was when my father was principal of Ebenezer Grammar School, Ijeda, Oreade local government, in Ijesha North or local government. I'm married, happily married with fantastic children. I have a daughter and a son. We just have to participate. That's the truth of the matter. Unfortunately, it's always a teamwork. However good you may think you are, it has to be a movement to change a nation, which is what we are doing. So it's not too slow, but probably it's not as fast as we think it will be. The whole essence of living practice for politics is because I just wanted to participate. So you have to participate, participation is even very funny. Now my perspective has it's not really changed, but I think it's broadened. Even if you don't have time to contest, you don't have time to participate that actively, by merely voting is participation. All of us may not leave whatever it is we are doing to go and participate. But if if you now don't register to vote, even if you have 1 million people following you on Instagram, then you are just wasting your time. I think to a large extent it ran in the family. So my paternal great grandfather was Afenifere even before Action Group, as far back as 1952 or thereabouts. In fact, one of the documents I treasure most was a notice of meeting of Afenifere Agba in Ife, Ile-Ife, inviting my father to the meeting. It was just a notice of meeting, but he kept it in his Bible that I inherited as a fourth generation, and I cherish it so much. So I think it ran in the family to some extent. So I was always politically conscious. My maternal grandfather was governor of Western Region, the first black governor in Southern Sahara, Sade Sojaderemi, the Oni of Ife, who was Oni of Ife 1930 to 1980. My father was councillor in Ife. My sister was Deputy Speaker of Osun State House of Assembly, SDP. She was elected in 1991. She resumed office in 1992 till 1993. My immediate elder brother is a party Unaparakik, as it were. He was in the party school. He still works, is an expert in electioneering, and he works when it comes to electioneering. So it runs in the family. So I was always politically conscious, but I felt that sitting back, though I was working in a very good law firm, not because of pecuniary benefits, but because of the quantum of briefs you see. When, as a copper, you have the opportunity of appearing, albeit appearing with your senior in the Supreme Court, and as a youth copper, you can even handle matters on your own, and so on and so forth. Very good training ground. But at the same time, I felt there was transition. We were moving from Abacha to Abdulsalami, and Abdulsalami to Obasanjo presidency. And some of us did not participate, like I said, despite the fact that I was a student member of People's Front of Nigeria before I became a member of Social Democratic Party as a student in Obafemi Awolowo University in Ife, University of Ife, before it became Obafemi Awolowo University. Yet I felt there was need to descend into the arena by actually playing politics. But what I keep saying is that what matters most, and this I think is a lesson for all of us, especially the upwardly mobile generation, is that you don't just do politics because for the fun of it. You must have a goal, you must have an objective, you must have an aim, you must have what you want to go and do in politics, and most especially you must be focused. Then you must be a professional. It's not must, but it's better for you to be a professional, so that at least you'll be a professional in politics instead of being a professional politician. So you can walk away when you have to walk away. When you have to walk away, you have to walk away. But at the same time, you have to learn a lot of ethics, a lot of codes about how the system works. A lot of times you keep quiet, not because you don't have something to say, but because you shouldn't say anything. There are codes, there are ethics in almost every endeavor. And I think one will be a very wise politician if you know when to talk and when not to talk. Thank you for that question. And I think basically it's a mind thing. you have to develop your mind, and you have to read. Despite the fact that you have a lot of materials on the internet now, when some of us were growing up, we didn't have laptop, we didn't have mobile phones, we didn't even have PC, talk less of laptop. So, and there was no internet. We couldn't send emails. You have to use the old phone to dial and stuff. That was not too long ago. So in a very short while, there has been a lot of changes. And I think I read a lot. I read a lot of books. Even when I was growing up, I had a vivid, rather than vague, idea of what I wanted to do in life, because I read a lot. And I'm amazed that, we don't have the culture of reading that well again, despite the fact that we have a lot of materials. We now have too much materials that you can spend 48 hours on the same topic, sitting down, not sleeping, not eating, not doing anything, moving from one aspect or the other, researching, just sitting down, and working on your device. So I think that is it. Yes, I looked up to a lot of people. Definitely, I looked up to Chief Obafemi Awolowo. Definitely, you don't have a choice. I grew up in a system that was a Southwest progressive trajectory. 4 generations, so you don't have a choice. So you find out that in my family, you'll be Afenifere, you'll be Action Group, you'll be UPN, you'll be SDP, you'll be AD, you'll be AC, you'll be ACN, and you'll be APC. Do you understand? Naturally. So that was how it flowed. Too numerous to mention, from philosophical to physical to literary, reading from Wole Soyinka's works to Chinua Achebe's works, and reading about leaders from Chief Obafemi Awolowo to too many people, too many to mention. I followed Bob Marley, I followed Fela Anikulapo Kuti, I followed a lot of people. I followed Che Guevara, I followed Thomas Sankara, I followed a lot of people. And I think one of the challenges we have now is that we seem to have a lot of people that are passionate about Nigeria. And we had End SARS protests. Yet I had challenges with the management of the protest from a struggle perspective. That, and I think it is still the culture of not broadening one's mind. That was an opportunity that I think was not managed well, because I think it was not, probably those who managed it did not know the precedents and the antecedents of protest in Nigeria. So it just went the same way other protests capitulated. So that basically is my background. Too many people, even from religious perspective, Pope John Paul II, I'm Catholic, but I read a lot about him, and I knew what he stood for. You have to stand for something. You have to be known for something. You have to be principled, and I think it's a lot about pride and honor. Even at the point of death, you must be able to say, this is what I stand for. People look at the gains, they don't know there are so many pains that come with it. So it's not about arrogance, it's about pride. It's about pride. Then I think the person that the people, let me put it that way, the 2 people that influenced me most, my parents, my father and my mother, and they were different from each other. Too different from each other. My mother was reserved. My father was a school principal, outgoing, But they taught me and they taught us in my family. I happen to be the last born out of 7 children, but they taught us about pride and honor and dignity and integrity. Do you understand? You don't eat your enemy's food. Do you understand? It could come with a lot of pains, and you must stand for something. You must be principled. They taught me about rule of law. That's why, Father, I'm a lawyer. I didn't study law when, unfortunately, my father had demised before I studied law. But I didn't have to study law before he taught me about the first law books I read were actually in his library. That's why the fact that he didn't read law, but he had books on medicine, he had books on... In fact, he taught me that you have to liberate your mind by reading about other things. So I read about journalism, I read about vast and vast. That was what he used to say. So you need to have a free mind. You need to read. And he says, even you read bad books, because you won't appreciate good books if you don't read bad books. So I read too many books, and I feel that basically my father and my mother taught me too much about being principled. You don't always have to get it right. Everybody may face the same direction and think they're right. But if you know you are right, do you understand? You don't have to. Politics is a team game, so you have to play also and I'm a team player. But I've had course in my sojourn, in my political sojourn, or my political odyssey, to stand by my position. Like I said, it came with some pains, but I don't regret it. I do not regret it. I did not regret it. And I still don't regret it. Let me explain something to you. The fact that you are opinionated, and I keep saying this, does not mean I dress well. Because I know, and I'm not being immodest, with every sense of humility, every sense of responsibility, I think it comes with a lot of challenges, because it's not cheap dressing well. But at the same time, it comes with a lot of anointing when you dress well. You dress the way you want to be addressed, like the Englishman says. I don't know whether it's a correct translation or interpretation in Yoruba. Irinisi ni sonilojo. You dress well, you speak well. There must be candor. In law school, I learned that irrespective of who you are appearing against, you must marshal your points. You must present your position with every sense of respect to the bench and to your senior counsel you are appearing against. We do respect your lordship. This is my position. Just make your position known. You don't have to disrespect, even if the person is your junior. It doesn't make any difference. So that, I think, has been my attitude to life. I've had cause to take some decisions, and these are decisions you have to take. They are split-second decisions. It's not a decision that you even have a full second to take. I can recollect vividly the 7th Senate, Senator David Mark, somebody I respect so well. Respected so well, I respect so well, and I know that I will respect so well for a very long time. Highly cerebral and a very good administrator. And a very good moderator, let me put it that way, because when you are presiding, you are also moderating. He gavelled down on an issue that I felt so passionate about, so hugged about, that I had to call for division. You don't usually call for division in this part of the world. In fact, you don't even usually call for division even in other climes. It's not what you do often. But I had to do it, and I did not do it with any regrets. Yes, we lost by 2 votes. But it was good that everybody had to answer one's father's name under the rules. The rules have not changed very well, except we have, just like it was recently done on the floor of the Senate when there had to be constitutional amendments and they had to use electronic voting. In some other climes, even in some state legislature in United States, they use e-voting all the time. But part of the joy of the democratic practice, just like the Anglo-Saxon jurisprudence, the common law practice, is the tradition too. Those in favor say yes, those against say nay. It's good, but it gives you the opportunity, but it's not holistic. You can challenge it. And I did. And I didn't have any regrets. So I think we have a lot of hurdles to cross in Nigeria, but the bend is not too far. The crescent is not too far. We are not too far from where we're going. We know what we want, and what we have most is not oil and gas. It's not solid minerals. What we have is human capacity with very high cerebral capacity. That is what we have in Nigeria, and we have it in abundance. And I think we just need to harness it. We just need to harvest it. We have Nigerians in diaspora doing very well, extremely well. We have Nigerians in Nigeria doing extremely well that are not known, silent billionaires that have made money without making noise. They've never worked in government. They've never worked, so you can't say they've stolen money. They've never even done any government contract. They're just using their capacity, their intelligence, their intellectual capacity, their brilliance. And we have it in abundance in Nigeria. But we need to get a lot of things right down the line, from the tiers of government to the arms of government. Just like I keep saying, what the National Assembly has done in this dispensation is they've done a yeoman's job in every respect. They've been labeled this, they've been labeled that. And I keep saying that. Why do I want to criticize the executive if there is no need to criticize them? I'm the one representing Mr. President in the National Assembly. And we've tried our humanly possible best to maintain a good relationship with the National Assembly. And it's been symbiotic. They have also tried to have a relationship. But they will always hold the shorter end of the stick, because the populace will always feel that probably they are not doing what they should do. I was in the 7th Senate, I was in the 8th Senate. And I keep saying that the 8th Senate, there was no need to quarrel with the executive, because nothing moved for 4 years. What we've done in the past 2.5 years, going to 3 years in this government, the bills that have not been passed in 20 years, in 16 years, in 12 years, we have passed. Yes, we have to implement. Yes, the parliament has to oversight to ensure that there is proper implementation, but we've passed it. I've done over 500 confirmations. I am not sure whether we did up to 100 last dispensation. Do you understand? Because politics is not about being dagger drawn. Politics is about dialogue. Politics, the relationship between the executive and the legislature is about dialogue. It's about negotiation. It's about talking to each other. It's about disagreeing, yet we know we have to agree. It's about caucusing. It's not about fighting. I don't want to go back to Ife and say that I fought for 4 years or for 8 years or for 12 years. I don't want to go that. I don't want to do that. I want to take things back home. And I can only take things back home by ensuring that during the appropriation process, I speak, I lobby, I ensure that things are put in in the budget that will have positive impact in my senatorial district, in my state, in my geopolitical zone, and in Nigeria as a whole. That is it. That was why they voted for me. They didn't vote for me to come and fight the executive. They didn't vote for me to come and fight the executive. I was voted for to come and ensure that I bring development to my people, and I bring development. You know, you have two constituencies. You have a federal constituency acting as the Senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, whereby your constituency is just Nigeria. But don't forget that you were voted for by a senatorial district, and you have to go back and render account to that senatorial district. So, as an opposition, do you understand? But at the end of the day, you must realize that the executive and the legislature, without compromising separation of power, due process, rule of law, and all the other guides and guards, without compromising them, you can ensure that there is good governance. And again, rule of law is extremely important. Supremacy of the law, equality before the law. The moment you circumvent, then you are compromised forever. The moment somebody does something wrong and you shrug it off, you are compromised forever. For every action, there must be a consequence. There must be a reaction. There must be a consequence. So, if you kill and nobody says anything, then we all start killing. Do you understand? So there must be a red line in government. So we may have democracy. Democracy does not mean you go on social media and start abusing my mother and my father. No. Because I can sue you for defamation. No. You don't do that. You have freedom. You have all the rights enshrined in Chapter 4 of the Constitution. And you are at liberty to take your rights to the full benefit. And you must not go beyond your rights, because your own right stops where mine starts, because I also have my rights. So you must learn to live in this environment. Is not tedious, and is not complicated. Before going into politics, or before going into government, or before going into House, legislature, or being appointed as a member of the executive, if not elected as the president or the vice or the governor or the deputy governor, you may have an idea of what you want to do. But when you get into the groove, as I call it, things may change. Whether you're in government or you're in opposition, I call it measure. And I know in some old literature, they also call it measures. If you have a measure before the parliament and it sails through, you know, that is when you'll know that there is power in government. Let me put it that way. In Yoruba, we call it Ijoba. Yes. Do you understand? Absolutely. That is when you know that Agbara wa ni Ijoba. By the time when I was in Lagos House of Assembly, I moved the motion on the floor because the College Road bridge coming from Excellence Hotel going to Iju, Ajuwon and stuff, coming from Ogba, more or less. After Ajayi Road, Yaya Abaton Junction, there is a bridge that was almost collapsing. And I moved the motion. And it was carried. There was a resolution, and government went there to fix it. It was like abracadabra, it was like magic. Do you understand? That intrigues me, that excites me. What it should do, it should encourage a politician or a parliamentarian to do more. That really is it. A few things have happened you mentioned one in Nikwetumodu, what we were able to do. I know what I was able to do in Garage Olode, in Ifetedo, in as far as Ikpetu, Ijesha, as far as Erin, as far as a lot of places, as far as the local, as far as the Jeddah, that one was able to do by legislative measures. Either, you have, you can either be a representative of the people and move motions that culminate into resolutions, and it is done, or you pass a bill that becomes an act. But in this instance of representation, it's more of lobbying, maneuvering within your colleagues, preparing a motion, standing up before the presiding officer on the floor, and after the resolution, you see the implementation of the resolution, the execution of the resolution. It freaks me, it excites me, it encourages me, it makes me to want to do more. By the time you ensure that you are able to, when I used to see Liberty Stadium growing up, I thought it was a big deal. It's not a big deal. You can get it done using legislative measure. I've just brought the Navy School back to Ife. That was abandoned even before I became, but when I was here, because my powers were limited, I couldn't do a lot. I was opposition under 7th Senate. But I was APC opposition under 8th Senate. He quote. So, but is there now? Is there? There are naval officers training in Ife, training in entrepreneurship, training in communication, training in other things that are not to do with combat on the sea. So they don't have to be in Lagos, Calabar, Port Harcourt, Warri, Forcados, Escravos, or other places. So, but it excites you. That encourages you. Now, when it came to issue of gender, I have always, the 7th and 8th Senate, I voted in favor of, I don't want to call it gender equality. I think I'd rather call it empowering our women folk a lot more. Because when you look at democracy, there is opportunity for everybody to contest, whether you are old or young, you are a man or you're a woman, or you are fair in complexion, or you are dark in complexion, or you are tall, or you are short, or whatever. But this is an instance that, when you make laws, you look for mischief, and you try to make amendments addressing the mischief. The mischief here is that the women folk, despite the fact that they are half of our population, despite the fact that even on the political terrain, they are more than men, they don't get elected like men. Yes, they may be talking about 20, 25, 30%. That is appointment. I think they should even get a lot more than that, even from the executive perspective. But from the it's more difficult from legislative perspective because they have to run for election. So my own attitude has always been 2 or 3 issues. One, I support women. I support the fact that women must be more, not out of sentiment, not out of anybody telling me that we'll be able to deal a lot more with education, we'll be able to deal a lot more with health, because it is the woman that does know. I don't believe in all those things. I believe that since they are half of our population, since they even play more politics than us, there must be a reason why we don't encourage them like some of us do. So we must look beyond, we must look at, which is my second issue, we must look at not only having the men and materials, we must have the method, the methodology. What is wrong? So those are the salient issues we must sit down and have a look at. I hope issues are brought back and the votings are taken again. I can tell you that it is not enough to protest at Eagle Square. It is not enough to go to any of the television stations. You have to do raw politicking raw lobbying. Raw lobbying. If you have to engage a consultant to do that, a lobbyist to do that, you have to engage a lobbyist to do that. I don't think sincerely that the lobbying was deep enough. Probably they did enough, but it was not deep enough. So I will encourage that. Unfortunately, I'm not a sitting member. I don't have a vote. All I have is a voice now. But I can assure you, go and check my record, 7th Senate, 8th Senate, I voted for women. I voted to have more opportunities for women. I don't believe, we've had, we are used to saying things in Nigeria that somebody can be president. If you look at the person's record, the person must have been in a position before. What did the person do when he was at that position? We've had women in parliament. Did they lobby enough? What did they do? What even did they do what bills did they even sponsor that will improve the family stead, the household? So, but I still think we must encourage women. I have an elder sister who is a politician, and when she was contesting to be in the House of Assembly in Osun, what I said, what a cliche was, she's the best man for the job. She's a woman, but we say she's the best man for the job. So let anybody go on, because she was qualified. She's a master's holder, she's this, she's that, she's done this. We could throw, but we know there are things out there, and the narratives are different from all over the country. Let us even break it down and look at out-of-school children. The narratives are different. In some part of the country, it is the male folks that are out of school. In some other part of the country, it is the women folk that are out of school. In some other part of the country, it does not make any difference. Nobody is out of school. I think the first thing is you must educate yourself. It's not just going to school that is education. You must know what you want. It is not because you have failed in business as an entrepreneur, that is why you are coming into politics. You will also fail as a politician. Sorry, maybe you make money as a politician. Maybe you are put in a place that you make, that does not, for me, there's no fulfillment. If you make money in politics, there's no fulfillment. Sincerely, that's my view. It's not about money making. It's about what impact you are able to make in Nigeria as a whole, as a corporate constituency, and in your primary constituency, what impact are you able to make? There must be good tutelage. You must be principled. It's like I said, it's going to come with some pains. When people see the gains, they may think it's all about gains. No, there will be a few pains here and there. You may find yourself offside, like I keep saying, that you just find yourself alone and nobody is with you. Do you understand? But you have to stick to your principle. It's a lot of hard work. It's not a bed full of roses. It's not a walk in the park. It's not a tea party. Sincerely, it's not. It's a lot of hard work. There is so much to do in Nigeria. I know if, like I said, if we just do the minimum irreducible threshold of rule of law, due process and stuff, we will get there soon enough. But how many of us are ready to do that? So basically, like I said, it's not a walk in the park. It comes with a lot of pains. It's not all about gains. You have to be prepared. You have to be prepared.